Could you tell me what was a working week like on Voyager? Because obviously in America, we know that it's pretty intense, is TV in America. Unlike in England, they make 6 episodes or something. You had 26 a year.
Yeah.
How much time off did you get? What were your days like?
Well, they were very long. I'd say we average anywhere between, I would say 12 to 17 hours of work per day. So, when you talk about a standard work week in America, it's 8 hours, right, with an hour or half hour lunch. But for us, it was much longer. And it wasn't like we were actually on the set for the entire 17 hours, but there was a lot of hurry up and wait, right? So they'd come in and make us rush around, and we'd go rehearse the scene. They would light it. We'd go back and wait for them to finish lighting, and we'd come back on, and then all of a sudden the director says, you know what, I don't like how this light hits this actor. Then they send everyone back to the trailer, and now we're waiting again to come back in for that one light to be tweaked. And so there's a lot of, there is downtime, but that downtime is sort of, it's not quality downtime because you're always being interrupted by somebody. It's like, oh, you need touch-ups, go back to makeup. Oh, you need, your hair is out of place, go back to hair. Oh, wardrobe needs to come and rub off that sweat stain that you have on your uniform now. So there's a lot of that going on in between. And so we would do these long days, Monday through Friday. We have the weekend off. And then it took us about 7 days to film one episode. So we started on Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday of the next week will be the new episode. Every now and then there will be an 8-day episode, but majority was 7 days. And so then we filled this, we would run this schedule for 10 months out of the year. And then everyone thinks, well, that's not bad, Garrett, you get 2 months off. But no, there's still, you have to do, even after the last filming for that year, for that season, we would have to do voiceover. So they would call us in to say, okay, you need to voice over this part. It was the audio recording of your lines wasn't good because some electrician dropped a hammer in the background, over your line. So we need to have you do that again. And then, so with voiceover and wardrobe and everything else, the true amount of time off that we had each year was 7 days. That's it. So we had 7 days off where no one was calling us, and we were right back at it again. So, and this is the schedule for 1 hour episodic, at least for our 1 hour episodic. The easiest schedule in Hollywood is half hour. Yeah. If you're in a half hour show, like Friends, like the show Friends, they start at the same time as Voyager. I often said that if it was an episode that revolved around me, I did more work in those 7 days than the Friends did the entire season. Guaranteed. Like the entire season of Friends, guaranteed. And yet towards the end, those guys got paid $1 million an episode, right? And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, where is the just in this world for this guy to get paid $1 million for doing nothing, literally nothing. And I'm working my ass off at a fraction of what this guy's making, right? So yeah, that's a little annoying. But the schedule, like I said, it was the toughest in Hollywood. If I had to do it again, I mean, I could do it again now. But I mean, if you asked me a year or two after Voyager was done, even 5 years after, if I was interested in doing a 1 hour episodic, I would say no, absolutely not. I don't want to have to deal with that schedule any longer. It's grueling. It really is. Puts a lot of years on mileage on the tires. That's for sure.
Okay, let's go back to Jade for another question.
Yes, Jade.
Okay, so this one comes from David Jackson. As an actor, what was your proudest moment on Voyager?
Wow. Probably the 100th episode, filming the 100th episode. I remember getting a call from Brandon Braga, one of the executive producers, and he said that, in a couple of weeks, we're going to film an episode. It is called, it was supposed to be a 2-parter, but we made it a single episode. It's the 100th episode of our show. And we believe that this is our best episode. Like, this is going to be our signature episode. and the entire episode is revolving around your character. So Timeless literally was probably my proudest moment, because I really got a chance to act finally. Voyager has the largest ensemble of all the Treks out there. We have more people than TNG, original series, DS9. We have the most series regulars, and when you have the most series regulars, you have less chance to have quality character development, and so certain characters can get ignored. And I do think that kind of happened the final 3 seasons of Voyager. It wasn't Star Trek Voyager. It was Star Trek, the Captain Dr. 7 show. It literally was Janeway Dr. 7 for almost every single episode for the final 3 years, right? But I got the 100th. I got the best one, so I feel like I'm vindicated. But it's a bummer that Chakotay, Paris, and Kim didn't get as much character development as those other 3. They didn't spread it out so evenly towards the end. So that's a bit of a bummer. And there's a lot of critics out there that will criticize the character of Kim, but they'll say, but Timeless was finally a chance where he was utilized properly, and I think that episode was probably my proudest moment for sure, filming that episode.
Slight digression here. What do you think of the TV show Orville, and would you ever go in that one? Because a few Star Trek actors have been in Orville, which I think is a great show. What's your thoughts on that one?
Orville's really interesting, because I think the way Orville, the TV show, when Seth MacFarlane pitched it to Fox Network, I think what he said to them was, I'm going to bring you Star Trek meets Family Guy, right? He told them this is going to be comedic. Mm-hmm. And if you watch Orville from season 1, episode 1, as it progresses, it's less funny and more Star Trek. Every episode of Orville becomes less funny and more Star Trek. And I really feel that Seth was like, that was my way. Because I want to do my own Star Trek. And that's exactly what he did. Because if you watch Orville now, or even last season, I feel like I'm watching like a TNG episode, or it's just very much, it's very, very, it's more original kind of TNG, DS9, Voyager era Trek than Discovery is. Or Picard, really, for that part. Yeah, for that, it's so much more what we are used to as Star Trek fans, from binge watching TNG or DS9. When you watch Orville, you're like, oh yeah, I have that same familiar feeling. Like for me, Picard, the best episode of Picard was Nepenthe, because of the familiar feeling you had when you saw Riker and Troy, and you're like, oh, I guess that feels familiar, and you kind of get a bit of a tear in your eye when you see those guys on that episode, because let's face it, we are all creatures of habit, and we get used to something in a certain way, and we like it that way, and there's certain people who are not watching Discovery and Picard specifically because they feel like this is not the Trek I know, and they're watching Orville because they're like, this is the Trek I know, and it's a whole different, it's different uniforms and everything. But yeah, I would jump at the chance at that. I've actually been to the set of Orville to visit Robbie McNeil while he's directed. So he's directed 2 or 3 episodes of Orville now, and I visited to watch the directing of Orville. So I met Seth. Seth now knows who I am. He follows me on Twitter, so I guess I could probably try to pitch myself at some point, to see if I can get into that. That'd be fun. Yeah.
Okay, Jade, have we got another question from the Facebook group?
Yes, so Lindsay Broddle would like to know, in your mind, where is Harry Kim now? Captain, Admiral, or teaching at the academy, maybe?
Well, my standard joke is this. Harry Kim leaves Starfleet. He quit Starfleet because he never got promoted. I mean, he tried so hard when he got back to Earth, and he was so upset. He quits. And then he rents the retail office space right next to Starfleet headquarters and opens up Admiral Kim's Bar and Grill, where he serves everybody, but the only people who get discounts are ensigns and lower in rank.
Fair question, fair answer. I like it. Okay, let's have a look for another one. Right, if I've already mentioned Orville and so on, and there's Picard and so on, but if there was any other sci-fi franchise that's existed in the past or exists now, which one would you like to be in, and would you want to be a hero or villain? So we're talking Blake Seven, are we talking Battlestar Galactica? Which one's really sort of stuck in your mind?
Wow. Well, you know, the new revised Battlestar Galactica, I loved that show. That would have been wonderful to be in. But I'm also I also enjoy Doctor Who quite a bit. So it'd be nice to see an Asian face with a British accent, of course, and I could definitely replicate that. So that would be super fun to be able to do something like that, I would say. And I don't mind being the companion, but it'd be nice to be the Asian Doctor Who too, right? So my joke is, Doctor Who spelled with HU, the Chinese spelling, instead of WHO. So.
Have you been watching the latest series since Doctor Who became a woman?
No, have not. Haven't seen any of them. Yeah.
We've got a new master actually, who was absolutely fantastic, and we've got our first black doctor, who's a female doctor, who was in 2 episodes, who was a past doctor. So they're really changing the whole law of it, and that's really tough. It's been a real shake-up this year. It's been very interesting.
Wow. Is it still Stephen Moffat doing that, or is it?
No. Stephen Moffat left it. Well, we've had 2 seasons now with a female doctor called Jodie Whittaker. She's the main doctor, but then in the new series, she met another doctor that was before the first doctor. They really have shaken up the mythology of Doctor Who a lot.
So who are the producers? Who are the new writers of that then?
Well, Chris Chibnall is the lead producer and writer since Stephen Moffat left. He does the majority of the whole thing.
Okay.
He's another fan from way back when. In fact, there's interviews with him on YouTube when he was a very young man talking about the 6 Doctor stories and so on in a panel. So he's taken over. It's a very different show. We've got new TARDIS, 3 companions, female Doctor, which is obviously a first, then another female Doctor. Major changes. So
well, I'm going to ask both of you, Chris and Jade. I'm going to ask both of you, favorite Doctor.
For me, 2. David Tennant for the new series because he's just fantastic. I love him.
Okay. Jade?
Peter Davison was my Doctor from when I was 5. So.
Okay.
For me, hands down, Matt Smith, and then secondly, David Tennant.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go opposite of both of you guys. For me, hands down, is Chris Eccleston.
He's great. Chris Eccleston was fantastic as well. He should have done more. He should have done more than 1 year.
He left you wanting. After he left, you're like, what? You're gone? Are you kidding me? What are you doing? Because literally, he was I don't know. For me, I felt that he was the most realistic. Yeah. He wasn't trying to be all tongue-in-cheek and funny. He was literally, to me, he was the I don't know. I liked his delivery and his take on how the Doctor.
He was phenomenal.
He was. And it's sad that he doesn't even. I don't know. I think. What does he say in interviews, that he wasn't a fan of the show, or what happened?
It was what was going on with Eccleston when he actually left. It was a case of. He wants to do other things, but from what I understand, I've heard interviews on the radio saying that it was basically he disagreed with the style or the take of it that the producers did, and it was a case of they just weren't compatible in the end, which was a shame. But he stuck by that year. But he was actually quite upset with the BBC because they said, he was tired and he was leaving. So people then said he's too tired to work, and he had to go to America. He actually said I had to move to America to try again because I was blacklisted.
No.
But he's done quite a few interviews and more. He's just written an autobiography that I bought. I haven't read it yet. I got it. But he has actually done a convention or 2 now. So he started to come back into it. And there's a lovely video of him hugging Matt Smith when they bumped into each other on the corridor. And so, he is a fantastic Doctor. Fantastic Doctor.
Huh. Okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.